Look around you. Everywhere you go online, AI is being sold as a miracle. Faster, smarter, easier. ChatGPT can write for you. The more useful an AI becomes, the harder it will live without it. Look around you. Everywhere you go online, AI is being sold as the main thing. Faster, smarter, easier. ChatGPT can write for you. Claude can summarize for you. Midjourney can create images for you. Perplexity can search for you. And sometimes they'll even do your homework for free. At first, it feels like a miracle. You open an account, you type a question, and suddenly you have a personal assistant sitting inside your browser. No office, no salary, no awkward performance reviews, just a chatbot. But there is one problem. Running these systems, it's incredibly expensive. Behind that friendly little chat box are enormous data centers, expensive ships, electricity, engineers, and billions of dollars in investment. So, when a company gives you AI tools for free, there is an obvious question: who really is paying for all of this? The answer isn't always you, at least not yet, because the real product may not be the answer you get today. It may be the habit you develop tomorrow, and this is where the business gets interesting. Because the most valuable customer isn't the person that is always the one who pays immediately. It's the person who starts thinking, why would I do this? Most AI companies follow a similar playbook. You sign up, you have a free version, maybe you ask ChatGPT to create an email or to write something in this email. Maybe you even ask Claude to summarize a 40-page document. Maybe you use AI image generator to create a thumbnail because you need for YouTube, or, well, Photoshop suddenly feels like a manual labor. And then you start discovering something. It actually works. And that's the important part. Because once the tool becomes useful, you start coming back. At first, once a week, then every day, then several times a day. And eventually, you stop asking, should I use AI for this or not? But basically, you just use it. That is when the free tier becomes interesting. You get limited message, limited credits, slower models, fewer features. Well, maybe the company gives you just enough access to think, this is amazing, and then you hit the limit. Suddenly, there is a beautiful little button sitting in front of you. Upgrade. Funny how that button always seems to appear exactly when you need something. The free version got you through the door, but the paid version is waiting you on the other side. And in these AI tools, there is a lot. ChatGPT has Plus, Claude has paid plans, Perplexity has Pro, Midjourney has subscriptions, and all across the industry the pattern becoming familiar. Free, then better, faster, unlimited, and enterprise. There is always different versions. And by the time you reach the paywall, you're really not deciding whether the product is useful anymore. You're deciding if you are willing to pay to give up something that you already built in your workflow, but a different version, with more tools, more extras. Most people think they are buying features, but they are looking at price pages and compare things like How many message? How many image? How many context? How many credits? How many integrations? But companies aren't the only one working on these numbers. They are watching something much more important: the frequency. How often do you open the app? How many tasks do you send through it? How much of your workflow depends on it? Because there is a massive difference between using AI occasionally and building your entire working life around it. Imagine, for example, using ChatGPT once a week. Now imagine a business using AI to write emails, analyze documents, generate marketing material, summarize meetings, research about competitors and support employees. The second customer isn't buying a chatbot, it's building an infrastructure. And this infrastructure is difficult to replace because your documents live there, your prompts live there, your workflow lives there. Everything you have in your professional life lives there. Your team learns how to use it, your employees become comfortable with it, and eventually switching becomes annoying, more risky, more expensive, and this, they call it locked in. And locked in is extremely valuable, because when a product becomes part of your daily routine, canceling isn't just about "I don't like this anymore", it's "how much will I will take to replace everything?" And this is a different calculation, and companies know it. The goal isn't necessarily to make you pay immediately. The goal is to become useful enough that leaving it becomes very, very painful. Here's where things get uncomfortable, because AI doesn't just save times, it can also remove friction and humans. You're stuck in an idea? Ask AI. Don't know how to write something? Ask AI. Can't understand a complicated document? Ask AI. Don't know what to eat tonight? Apparently, AI can handle that too, and so much more. So, every time it gives you a useful answer, something small happens. You get relief, you save time, you feel productive, you move forward. Doing this often will make your brain starting to learn a simple association. When I'm stuck, I can just use AI, and this is pretty useful. So this can become an habit. And from a business perspective, habits are extremely valuable. Because once something becomes part of your routine, convenience becomes harder to give up. Think about Netflix, Spotify, Instagram. You don't wake up every morning thinking, "Should I use this product today?" You just open it. AI is moving in the same direction. The difference is that the AI can be embedded so much more deeper into your work life. It can write your emails, build presentation, analyzes spreadsheets, write code, generate images, plan strategies, and eventually think alongside you. This is incredibly powerful, but it creates a new kind of dependency. Because if a tool makes everything faster, ordinary work starts feeling painfully slow. Suddenly, waiting 5 minutes for something feels unacceptable. Writing something yourself feels inefficient. Researching something manually feels ancient. And then the premium features arrive. Faster models, more context, priority access, better reasoning, more automation. You're no longer paying simply for software. You're paying to avoid friction. And that's a very profitable thing to sell. Now zoom out, because this isn't really about a few dollars amount. It's about power. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Google and Microsoft aren't simply building better software. They are building platforms that can sit directly between humans and information. And that's a different position. Google helped people find information. Social media helped people consume information. AI can incredibly help people process the information. And that's a much deeper layer. Think about what you may ask an AI assistant. What should I buy? How should I market this? Is this business idea any good? How should I respond to this email? Which strategy should I choose? Isn't my company growing, and why isn't? These are not searches, these are decisions. And the more decisions people outsource, the more valuable these systems become. A casual user who opens AI chatbot twice a month is not the user that is super dependent, but a company that uses AI inside every department, that's completely different. Customer support, marketing, research, software development, internal documents, sales, operations. And at that point, AI isn't just an app anymore, it's infrastructure, and the infrastructure has leverage. If your company depends on a system every hour of every day, the price of that system becomes less important than the cost of losing it. That is the quiet shift that is happening underneath the AI boom. The more useful an AI becomes, the harder it becomes to live without it. And that creates an incredible, powerful business model. For years, we talk about the attention economy. Facebook wanted your attention, TikTok wanted your attention, YouTube wanted your attention. The longer you stayed, the more valuable you become. But AI introduces something deeper: cognitive outsourcing. It's not just where the time is going, it's where is your thinking going. Every time you ask AI to summarize something, write something, make a decision, generate an idea, or solve a problem, you're outsourcing a tiny bit of cognitive work. That's not necessarily bad. Calculators didn't destroy mathematics. Search engines didn't destroy curiosity. AI doesn't automatically make people stupid. The danger is dependency without the awareness. If millions of people began relying on a small number of AI systems for information, decisions, and creative work, these companies gain something incredibly valuable: influence. Not because they are controlling people, but because the systems are increased to be between people and the information they need. And that creates a strange new kind of power. Your attention used to be a price. Now, your dependence on it might be the price. So, should you stop using AI? You probably not. That will be super dramatic. You don't need to throw out the computer into an ocean. And the return of writing emails with a paper sheet, AI is incredibly powerful. But the question isn't whenever you should use it, it's how you use it. Ask yourself 4 questions. These 4 questions are: 1. Am I using AI as a tool or as a crutch? A tool makes you stronger. A crutch becomes something you cannot walk without. 2. If this AI disappears tomorrow, could I still do my job? If the answer is no, you may have more dependence on it than you realize. 3. If I'm paying for real valuable, should I simply pay to remove anxiety? Sometimes the more expensive the plan genuinely saves you hours. Sometimes you just want the shiny new model because everyone is talking about it and there's a difference. 4. Do I understand what I'm becoming dependent on? Because the companies building these systems understand psychology extremely well. They understand habits, they understand convenience, they understand pricing, and they understand us. This doesn't make AI evil, it makes AI powerful. And powerful tools deserve powerful users. The AI pricing trap doesn't look like a trap. There's no casino, no flashing lights, no guy in a suit screaming, "Step right up!" It looks like a beautiful interface, a clean dashboard, a friendly chatbot, a generous free plan, and one small button, upgrade. That is what makes this so interesting. The system doesn't need to force you. It only becomes useful, then an habit, then difficult to replace, and eventually the value is enough that you pay for it. That is how modern technology builds dependence. Attention becomes a habit, and this habit becomes a dependence. Dependence becomes revenue for them. And revenue becomes power. The biggest AI companies aren't simply competing to build the smartest models. They are competing to become the systems you cannot imagine working without. And if they succeed, the most valuable asset may not be your attention, it may be your dependence on their intelligence. Because the next decade won't be simply belong to people who use AI. It will belong to the people who understand who controls it, who can make money from it, and how much of their own thinking they are willing to outsource. And that's the real price of the free AI.